Battle for 10 talented home cooks using any means necessary.
New series, All-Star Academy, premieres Sunday night at 9.
Many of our favorite foods came to America from Old World family recipes, and one of them, a Polish staple, can now be found on American tables from coast to coast. Mrs. T's pierogies are as family as it gets. The real Mrs. T, and yes, she is real, was the mother of company founder Ted Swartzik Sr., and he started the company using her recipe.
He started commercially making pierogies here in Shenandoah, originally on her kitchen table.
Today, these delicious, iconic potato and cheese-filled dumplings are made in this huge facility in Shenandoah, Pennsylvania, where the whole process starts off just like in the old recipe with potatoes. Only now, they're pretty flaky.
We'll add our potato flakes into the process. We receive them in 40-pound bags from a number of potato flake vendors throughout the United States.
Potato flakes are basically dehydrated potatoes, and 20 to 25 bags go into this bin at a time. From here, the flakes are transferred via large vacuum tubes over to gigantic cone-shaped hoppers that will weigh and deposit the proper amount of potato flakes into the mixing chamber. These super-capacity automated mixers are similar to the stand mixer you might use at home, but these are supersized for a kitchen the size of a football field.
It's a big kitchen compared to one at home or the one that Mary Twardzik started with. We'll mix up a 300-pound batch of filling about every 6 to 7 minutes.
Next, some water and oil are piped in and added to the potatoes. And then it's time for the cheese. A 5-cheese blend and special spices are added to the potato mixture by hand. As that all mixes together, let's check in on the other key pierogi component, the dough.
At the same time, we bring our 2 types of flour in from our storage system.
Mrs. T's uses a blend of flour, water, eggs, and salt to create the perfect pierogi. And much like the process for the filling, all of the dough ingredients are carefully measured and blended together in these industrial-sized mixers. They're capable of putting out 600 pounds of dough every 6 minutes. The finished dough is then dumped out onto this conveyor in large, heavy clumps. So, in order to get things down to size, Mrs. T's uses another specialized piece of equipment with a very technical name.
We have a machine that we've dubbed the chunker, and what it does is it takes these large masses of dough and turns them into smaller, more manageable pieces for the actual pierogi making process.
So we've got the dough and we've got the cheesy potato filling. Now all we need to do is make the shells and fill them. For that, Mrs. T's uses another well-named machine.
And what we do is we'll then add that dough into the pierogi making machine. I wish I could tell you more about the pierogi making process. It's something that we are very protective of, and it's very secretive for us.
It's safe to say this machine does things the same way you would do it if you were making them from scratch at home. It rolls the dough into a sheet, creates a pocket for the potato cheddar filling, folds it over, and crimps the edges to keep the filling in place.
So if you could imagine, we're doing that at a much faster and much bigger scale than can be done on the kitchen table.
And by much faster, he means much, much faster.
Typically, when we're running the plant at full capacity, we're making about 155,000 pierogies an hour. That would calculate out to about 11.7 million pierogies per week.
If you add that all up, that means Mrs. T's is producing between 500 and 600 million pierogies a year. That's enough to go all the way around the globe, plus another 1,000 miles. As the pierogies exit the machine, small orange air knives blow out any wayward dumplings that may not have been filled properly. Once any rejects are removed, the rest of the group happily marches on to be partially cooked in a quick hot bath. Inside the blancher, air is injected into the water to keep these cheesy potato darlings from sticking together. after a 6-minute paddle through the bubbles, it's time to cool things down as the steaming pierogies get a fast, cold shower. Super chilled water is circulated to rain down upon the parboiled bunch and help cool them to room temperature.
We're using that process to help set the dough and prepare the pierogies for the freezing process.
Now that our cheesy little friends are way cool, they'll run through one more inspection before it's off to the deep freeze. But first, this ingenious machine shakes the pierogies into straight lines before they enter the freezer. This 2-story spiral freezer is 20 feet tall and works like a large spiral staircase. After about 30 minutes, the pierogies arrive at the top, frozen and ready for packaging.
So as the pierogies are then discharged from the spiral freezer, they go across a series of scales.
These specialized scales group 12 frozen pierogies into exactly 16-ounce portions. Those 16 are then poured into a carton and whisked away to the packing machine. The packing machine folds down the lids and seals the cartons. Then it's on to the palletizer.
The palletizer will pick up 2 cases at a time.
These yellow high-tech robotic arms are all business, making the packing of the pierogies no problem. They continue to stack boxes until they reach 100 cases and are ready for shipping. Coming up, a campfire favorite like you've never seen.
Let's talk about the best ways to get pizza from here to here. Patsy Grimaldi has been making pizza in New York City for over